Hello, St. James. Good to visit with you again. We have a new director of our parish vitality with Isela. We have a new campus minister in Cynthia. And so some new things are happening here at St. James. We're really excited about the future. And it gives me hope. This is a year that Pope Francis, before he died, dedicated as a year of hope. And so I've been thinking a lot about hope. I'm actually going to be on retreat next week with the Trinitarian Sisters in Philadelphia. And my theme for the retreat is going to be hope. So I've been thinking a lot about it. How do you have hope in this crazy world that we live in? And the Pope reminds us that this having a year of hope, having a holy year, had its roots or has a tradition of being a year of pilgrimage. At St. Peter's and all of the basilicas in Rome and all the cathedrals in the world, there will be a special Holy Year door that you can go through. If you go downtown to Holy Name, you'll be able to go through the Holy Name door. And so we have this thought of being people on the way, being pilgrims during a holy year, and we're on our way to hope. We're not there yet. We're trying to get where we're trying to be, and so we're hopeful as we're on this journey. And all of which serve to remind me of my own pilgrimage when I was on the road as a pilgrim to Compostela, the famous pilgrimage that's up to the tomb of Saint James. And so let me just, I took a journal as I'm walking for the 30 days, the 500 miles. Let me just share with you some of the thoughts that I had as I was taking that journey, as I was walking on the Camino, as it's called, the road to St. James's resting place. The first thing that struck me was you have to travel light. I had this backpack and I had a lot of stuff in this backpack that I thought I would need. Well, it turned out when you're carrying everything with you all day, you don't need a lot of stuff because it's much rather travel light than have a lot of baggage. And so that's, I think, the first suggestion I would make as we're on this pilgrimage of hope to travel light. We have a lot of baggage of our own story, resentments and angers and all these history of things that have happened to us. And you really got to throw them away because they get heavy. They get heavy as you're traveling the road. And so that the first thing that I learned was get rid of the excess baggage. The second lesson I learned was I call it there's always another switchback. You start off the Camino, you start off the road crossing the mountains from France into Spain, crossing the Pyrenees. And of course, if you're going to climb a mountain, you don't go straight up the mountain, you go zigzag. They call them the switchbacks, so that there's not a big steep angle that you're going up, but a gradual step. But of course, it makes it longer that instead of just going straight up in a straight line, you have to go back and forth and back and forth. And what I experienced was that there's always another switchback. Every time I'd get to that, oh, I must be at the top now. And I wasn't at the top then. There was more to go. And so that's one of the lessons, I think, of being on the road, being on pilgrimage, a pilgrim of hope, is realize it's you got to keep at it. You got to keep going. There's always another switchback. There's always more to go, and you have to keep faithful. And on that particular part of the journey, I learned another lesson of the Camino is there's going to be people that you're going to meet which are going to be a help to you in unexpected and surprising ways. As I was walking up the hill and I was getting kind of nervous because my water was running out. Water's heavy, by the way. And I had brought enough. And so I was going, boy, I'm going to be really thirsty going down the mountain. And a car drove up, pulled next to me and says, "You want some more water? I have some jugs of water here." And I said, "Are you St. James by any chance? Are you an angel?" They laughed and they filled up my water jugs, my canteens. And so I realized that that's really the story too, that there's people who are going to surprise us in life. People are going to help us in unexpected ways. And then maybe the last lesson to think about is it's the journey that counts, not the end of the journey. When I got to Santiago after 30 days, um, the next morning when I woke up, I said, well, where am I walking today? I've been walking every day, 8, 10 hours a day. And now all of a sudden I wasn't walking anymore. And it just struck me that being on the way was really as important as getting to the end. And I think that's a real lesson for a pilgrim of hope as well. Uh, don't concentrate on how it's going to turn out, what's going to happen. Instead, live each day, be on the way, be faithful to the day, because that's ultimately what you're getting out of it is not the destination, but the journey. And that, I think, is how we're pilgrims of the way. So just some little thoughts as we're entering this holy year, as we're going to be people of hope. If we can concentrate on how we're faithful each day to being hopeful in the midst of a crazy and confusing world, and I think God will bless us and help us to live with courage and integrity. So blessings to you all. Let's pray for one another. Let's be people of hope. And I expect that we can continue to walk together as God intends. So be always aware of how much we need each other, support each other, and care for each other. Blessings. Bye-bye.